Greetings from Croatia to everyone on the TBC-InTV channel. Camino de Santiago has finally come to Croatia. The shots you see now were taken at the opening of the Camino motor route, which will be part of the main Camino route through Croatia. The purpose of Christian pilgrimage was summarized by Pope Benedict XVI in this way. To go on pilgrimage is not simply to visit a place to admire its treasures of nature, art, or history. To go on pilgrimage really means to step out of ourselves in order to encounter God where He has revealed Himself, where His grace has shone with particular splendor and produced rich fruits of conversion and holiness among those who believe. Above all, Christians go on pilgrimage to the Holy Land, to the places associated with the Lord's passion, death and resurrection. They go to Rome, the city of the martyrdom of Peter and Paul, and also to Compostela, which, associated with the memory of St. James, has welcomed pilgrims from throughout the world who desire to strengthen their spirit with the apostles' witness of faith and love. Pilgrimages were and are also made to Rome and other sites associated with the apostles, saints and Christian martyrs, as well as to places where there have been apparitions of the Virgin Mary. A popular pilgrimage journey is along the way of St. James to the Santiago de Compostela Cathedral, in Galicia, Spain, where the shrine of the Apostle James is located. Santiago is one of the three important pilgrimage cities of Christianity, alongside Jerusalem and Rome. When European Christians saw that their faith was threatened by the advance of Islam, they asserted it by pilgrimaging to the recently discovered sepulchre of the Apostle St. James, in the 9th century. This is how, step-by-step routes that led to Santiago were created, thus establishing a type of union between the different European countries and regions. The 12th and 13th centuries were the golden age of pilgrimages to Santiago. Later, during the Renaissance and Reformation, the St. James phenomenon suffered attacks, but it managed to survive, albeit with a lower influx of pilgrims. The bull by Pope Louis on the 13th Deus Omnipotens, which verified the authenticity of the apostles' relics, represented a renewed impetus for the St. James pilgrimage, which grew during the 20th century until the present, when pilgrimaging is strong and on the rise. The pilgrimage to Santiago takes us to the tomb of an apostle, one of the 12 who were part of Christ's intimate circle and who was responsible for the evangelization of Hispania, that is to say, he transmitted the original faith received from Jesus. The Camino de Santiago, the Way of St. James, is a large network of ancient pilgrim routes stretching across Europe and coming together at the tomb of St. James, Santiago in Spanish, in Santiago de Compostela in northwest Spain. Camino Croatia is a task being created by the Croatian confraternity of St. James. It will probably re-establish the middle-age courses driving from Croatia to Santiago de Compostela as a piece of European organization, the Way of St. James Camino de Santiago. This task isn't just with regards to setting up street markers and pioneer foundation. Its principal design is to assist pioneers with finding the Camino experience, a one-of-a-kind profound excursion, while investigating the rich social, chronicled and normal depository of Croatia. A pilot project in Croatia was on the island Krk last year. Its 7 days tour through the beautiful landscape and the smell of the sea. In Krk, people call Camino Krk preparation for Big Camino in Spain. This project attracted many people, and the Brotherhood of St. James began under the auspices of the President of the Parliament of the Republic of Croatia. Started organizing routes throughout Croatia and Medjugorje in neighboring Bosnia and Herzegovina to Santiago. The Brotherhood of St. James believed that if construction continues at this tempo, the main Camino route through Croatia will be completed in 7 years, which, unlike previous countries, is probably a record speed that would build such a route through one state. The pilgrim path follows the medieval pilgrimage routes connecting the Croatian churches and shrines dedicated to St. James. The route will also include numerous cultural, historical and natural attractions of Croatia. The Camino Croatia route will have 18 individual route sections. Individual stages are from 75 to 150 kilometers long, and each is envisioned as a unique pilgrimage path. The vast majority have an unmistakable thought of why they need to walk the Camino de Santiago courses for strict reasons, as an individual otherworldly excursion, for a sound test, or simply the social perspective. Whatever your inspiration for strolling the Camino courses, ensure you get your Camino Pilgrim passport to get it stepped on route, archiving your advancement. The Camino Pilgrim Passport Credential del Peregrino will be a verification that you have strolled the 100 kilometers important to acquire your Camino Compostela, or Camino certificate. The authority reports demonstration of your excursion. You can get your Pilgrim passport at one of the starting points from which you start your Camino. Croatian credential was officially approved by office at Santiago de Compostela in 2017. The idea was to develop a credential that is uniquely Croatian. The design was heavily influenced by traditional Croatian symbols, especially the traditional pattern which is shown in various monuments and ornaments since the 9th century. This credential also features a map with locations of major Croatian shrines and sanctuaries dedicated to St. James. Some are even listed on the UNESCO World Heritage List. The Compostela is the first strict testament written in Latin, consumed by the Church when pioneers demonstrate they have either strolled 100 kilometers or cycled, or went riding a horse 200 kilometers to Santiago de Compostela. Initially, pioneers utilized the scallop shell as verification of their journey, yet this immediately turned into a deceitful practice, with many individuals purchasing and selling shells. From the 13th century, the Church presented a more thorough framework dependent on letters, the beginning of the Compostela. The Camino Compostela was a significant report. Explorers would head out to Santiago in the journey, by and large as retribution. By getting a declaration showing they had strolled to Santiago, they could get back home and show they had paid their compensation, apologized for their transgressions. Clearly, a thundering exchange of fashioned Compostelas, additionally blasts in Santiago in the Middle Ages. The way to Santiago appeared to be cleared with sincere goals. For some purposes, strolling to Santiago and getting the Compostela implied they had gotten their reference letter or VIP pass to paradise. The Compostela was viewed as a significant paper, one to show St. Peter at the doors of paradise. In the 16th century, the Catholic Queen and King Fernando and Isabel made the foundation of the Royal Hospital and began the development of a Travelers' Royal Hospital in Santiago, in the structure that has today the lavish Hostal dos Reis Católicos Parador Inn. By showing the Compostela, travelers could remain for as long as 3 days. Today, the lodging actually gives free dinners to 3 days to 10 explorers with the Compostela. Numerous things have changed since the Middle Ages. Today, many cycles or walk the Camino for recreation, as a social encounter and other non-strict reasons. However, this doesn't mean you can't get a testament as a trinket of this exceptionally unique excursion. Pioneers going for sport or social reasons can get a non-strict form of the Compostela, called Certificate of Welcome, additionally from the Pilgrim's office in Santiago, Rua Carretas 33. A similar standard of 100 kilometers for walkers and 200 kilometers for cyclists and pony riders apply for this declaration. Camino Compostela and Camino Pilgrim testaments are given to pioneers, on a gift premise by the Pilgrim's office in Santiago. If going as a component of a coordinated gathering, the Pilgrim's office likewise has an extraordinary help, where the names of the gathering can be put together by email a couple of days ahead of time by the gathering chief. An uncommon structure from the Pilgrim's office should be filled in. When the gathering has arrived at Santiago, the pioneer can carry the gathering's travelers' international IDs to the workplace, keeping away from lines, and get all the Compostelas for the gathering. One more declaration of distance is likewise accessible, expressing the beginning stage and distance strolled cycled of every explorer, accessible in a wide range of dialects. This can be acquired notwithstanding the Compostela. If you strolled the Camino before that date, you can demand this declaration by messaging the Pilgrim's office in Santiago. It probably won't get you a most optimized plan of attack to paradise, yet it will be a great token of your outing to Santiago. All pilgrims who have walked at least 2 daily stages of Camino Krk route in Croatia are eligible for Camino Krk Compostela. All you need to do is present your stamped pilgrim passport at these tourist offices and they will issue you the local pilgrim certificate, Compostela, free of charge. Camino Imota pilgrimage certificate is issued to all pilgrims who walked at least 1 day of the Camino Imota route. Its design is inspired by ancient Croatian ornaments. The stamps for the pilgrim passport and the Camino Imota certificate can be picked up at the Imota Tourist Board office. In case you are visiting Santiago Cathedral, and on the off chance that you've strolled this way you presumably are, you can demand a cathedral visit certificate, Certificado de Visita a la Catedral, additionally from the pilgrim's office. Here's some advice for those who want to walk Camino. Wear season-appropriate clothing. Make sure you have comfortable footwear for hiking. Make sure you take sun, rain, and wind protection, hat, sunglasses, jacket, raincoat. Bring a lot of water, minimum of 4 L per daily stage, and some dry food like energy bars, chocolates, or dry fruit. It is advisable to take a cell phone, pocket knife, small first aid kit. It is advisable to walk in a group, at least 2 persons, with hiking poles. You are walking this path at your own responsibility. It is not allowed to camp outside the registered camps. Leave trash on the trails. Pick plants, figs, grapes. Start a fire. Hunt or disturb animals, insects, and birds, destroy or climb across stone walls. Additional information about Camino Croatia can be found on the official website www.caminocroatia.com. I welcome all future pilgrims to Croatia and I wish buen camino. I hope you enjoyed the shots I took this summer at the opening of the Camino Imota route in Croatia. For TBC-InTV.